Hello everyone, this is Johannes Lacroix and welcome to another gameplay video of Forza Motorsport 6. Today, I'm going to be talking about the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which is the big one, the big race, the biggest sports car race and very possibly, arguably, the biggest motor race in the world. So the way this works is I'm going to be doing two lap races around the Le Mans track, driving with a Toyota GT1, an LMP1 Toyota, and a GT Corvette. So basically I'll be predicting the prototype side of things for the first race, and for the second race, I'm going to be predicting the GT side of things, so. And so we'll be driving the Toyota GT1 mainly because it's the only car coming from a current LMP1 manufacturer that I can drive in the stock game. Okay, so we got the usual people. Anyway, yeah. Oh, stupid Mazdas. So the synopsis of LMP1 this year is that Audi has left, with the dismiss of Audi from the LMP1 class of the World Endurance Championship, Audi puts an end to their 18-year campaign to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which was, no question, an incredible one. Jeez, for God's sake, stupid Jaguar, what are you doing to me? I'm dumb. Anyway, yeah, so Audi is leaving the LMP1 class, which means that for the first time since 1998, Audi will not be in the fight for the win at Le Mans, which it's going to just be between Toyota and Porsche. And Toyota really are the sort of manufacturer that everyone wants to get their eyes on, because everyone's eyes are on Toyota to do well. Because last year, Toyota almost won the race with Sebastian Buemi and Anthony Davidson and Kazuki Nakajima. But with 6 minutes left in the 24-hour race, the Toyota that was in the lead of the race lost power. It was probably one of the all-time most shocking last-minute failures in history. It gave Porsche a win they never could have taken, even though, yeah. And that resulted in the number 5 Toyota that never to win. It never won Le Mans. But also it wasn't classified for a finish either, because it took 12 minutes to get across the lap, to get the last lap done, which has actually been, there is actually a new rule stating that if you complete the last lap of the 24-hour race in under 6 minutes, then you are fine. But if it takes you anywhere from between 6 minutes to 15 minutes to complete the last lap, you will suffer penalties. And if it takes you more than 15 minutes, then you will not be classified. So that is nice, even though it's not a very, very attractive idea, especially for a GT car. But Toyota, it helps for those who don't. It helps if anyone falls into a similar case that Toyota did last season. But anyway, yeah, the main story with LMP1 is that Toyota have basically worked pretty hard on this. They've put a huge attack on Le Mans, and they've gone up against Porsche. But even though Porsche have won, Toyota are fielding 3 cars on this year's Le Mans, with Stéphane Sarrazin and Nicolas Lapierre. Nicolas Lapierre is returning to Toyota for the 3rd car, and to get a better chance of winning, they will make sure that they will win with 3 cars as well. And in the testing, it seems they've done very well. having taken the top of the timesheets over Porsche by quite a lot. And that's another thing, that Toyota seemed to have taken this race quite well, but reliability will always come into play in this 24-hour race. But what's really interesting about this year's Le Mans is that the two manufacturers that are fighting for it, Toyota is really attacking for this Le Mans, and they have 3 cars with 9 drivers, but only 8. They have 9 drivers, 8 of which have never won any class in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The only person who has ever had a class win at Le Mans is Nicolas Lapierre. He has won the LMP2 class for the past 2 years, meaning he won't be able to defend his crown in that class. But he is the only person in the entire Toyota team who has won any class. Meanwhile, and Toyota has never won Le Mans before. Meanwhile, Porsche is the most successful Le Mans manufacturer of all time. They have won the race 19 times, and they have a 6-driver lineup, 5 of which, and all of them but one, have won the race overall. The only person on the Porsche team who hasn't won is Brendan Hartley, meaning that a manufacturer that has never won, full of drivers that have never won, is going up against a team that has won all the time, with drivers that have won all the time. It's the extremes. Really cool David and Goliath battle there. But anyway, yeah, that is the main story there. And in LMP2, things are very close with because there is a staggering 25 cars in the LMP2 class, which is really something. And some of them will be joining from European Le Mans, some of them from IMSA, some from Asian Le Mans. Although mostly you want an Oreca 07, which is the World Endurance Championship chassis, to do well, basically. And a very close and unpredictable LMP2 field indeed. But then when looking at the index of performance, I'd seen that, looking at the index of performance, the number 25 Manor car is actually doing a very good job, having completed a lot of laps and coming very close to the top, so they may actually be in with a shot here. But then also G-Drive Racing, one of the fastest LMP2 teams in the World Endurance Championship, they are fielding a second car coming from the European Le Mans Series. And both of those guys look like they are in contention for it, so... And we even have some European Le Mans cars who are actually are in for some contention here, because the Dragon Speed Oreca car, an American European Le Mans Series LMP2 team, Dragon Speed, they'll be fielding Felix Rosenquist, who has had a very versatile past 18 months, and he's doing Le Mans with Dragon Speed, and so far he's in probably one of the best cars in the 25-car LMP2 field. So that is very interesting stuff to see indeed. And also, there is another piece of very interesting news, is that Rubens Barrichello is doing the 24 Hours of Le Mans with a Ligier, and he's joining 61-year-old 1988 24-hour Le Mans winner Jan Lammers. His teammates are, middle-aged Dutchmen, but one of them is the winner of the 24 Hours of Le Mans from 1988, and he raced against legendary machines like the Porsche 962, the Jaguar XJR9, and the Sauber C9 and the Mazda 787, really legendary cars. So that's the story with that. I'll finish up my LMP2 summary as I choose a GT car for the second race. So yeah, this is a very interesting race indeed, because with a 25-car LMP2 field, things are doubtless very close. Hold on. Yeah. And Signatech Alpine are very close as well, because they also have Romain Dumas, who is a former Porsche driver. Yeah, that's basically what it is, but most of the Orecas, almost, in fact, the entire LMP2 field that is basically in contention when checking the index of performance. Oh wait, no, hold on. When I checked the index of performance, the LMP2 field was actually very, very close, but it seemed it was all Orecas. All of the Oreca cars. Okay. There's only one car I'm choosing here. This one. Yeah. So that's basically what that is for the LMP program. Feel free to fill me in. Feel free to fill me in on anything I missed. And now for the GT race, where I talk about the GT. So basically, this is set to be a very exciting year again, with 5 manufacturers duking it out for the overall victory in the GT class. For GTE Pro, you've got Corvette Racing, Porsche, Ferrari, the Ford GT, obviously, and Aston Martin Racing. Although, to be honest, Aston Martin Racing don't look like they're in contention at all. They seem pretty low down. They are not in good shape right now. But it seemed like after 2016, which, saw Ford win the GT class in their 50th anniversary, rather unrightly so. See, we're going to get some Mercs and Audis as well, aren't we? Yeah. But yeah, the Corvettes were really screwed because they took the bottom 2 results in qualifying for the GTE Pro class, and one of the Corvettes was even slower than the GTE AM cars. I love the noise of this engine. Had to deal with something there. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, Corvette Racing were really screwed over by the BOP, which is a very annoying feature of the GT class, the balance of performance. But it seems this year that because Corvette did so badly last year, the balance of performance is made in Corvette's favor, because after seeing the test times, Corvette have really nailed testing. Like, Corvette are doubtless the fastest team in testing, like with the Le Mans test. Ooh, Ferrari seem to be doing. And yeah, that's a big thing. Oh, come on. So yeah, Corvette have this one pretty much nailed, and all 6 of Corvette's drivers are class winners at Le Mans, and including one of the Audi boys, Marcel Fassler, has, after having no home at Audi anymore, he signed on with Corvette. He returned to Corvette, in fact, actually, because he used to race for them in 2009. But yeah, he's joining Corvette again, and Sebastian Bourdais, who was supposed to race for the Ford GT team in Le Mans this year after breaking his leg in the Indianapolis 500 qualifying, he's being replaced by fellow IndyCar driver Tony Kanaan, who's making his Le Mans debut. And yeah, so yeah, that looks pretty much done for there. And speaking of talking about the manufacturers that are ahead of me, Ferrari. So it seems AF Corse have taken a bit of a loss this year, because Gian Maria Bruni, who is a veteran racing driver, very experienced, and he has been with AF Corse, which is like the factory supported Ferrari GT team. He has been with AF Corse since their inception in 2008, and they mutually parted ways at the beginning of this season, and Gianmaria Bruni signed on with Porsche in the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. So AF Corse don't really have one of their original members anymore. But they do have Giancarlo Fisichella again. You always want to have him, and Tony Vilander. A very good lineup. Ferrari have 3 cars for this one. The normal 2 AF Corse cars. Oops, that was very late braking. So, yeah, Ferrari should be doing, but Ferrari should still be doing pretty well with this though, because, I mean, they do have some stiff competition, like Porsche, who is now fielding their own GT team after relying on Manthey Racing and Proton Racing for a while. They're now actually coming into Le Mans themselves, and so far they haven't really shown competitive results yet. But things look pretty good for Ferrari and Porsche, because Ferrari won the 6 hours of Spa. Things are alright for them. And with the help of Fisichella and Vilander, the very experienced drivers, things will be good. But, as I'm going to say this again, Porsche have their own GT team, and they seem to be, I mean, while Corvette are very far ahead in, lap times, it seems, with reliability as well, it seems Porsche are the closest manufacturer that can get to, the manufacturer that is able to get closest to Porsche at the current moment is, the manufacturer that is closest to Corvette is Porsche. I mean, with their 3 Frenchmen, along with Richard Leitz along with Patrick Pilet and, I can't remember who the other one was. But it seems there are 2 manufacturers here where we're in with a realistic chance. Unless Ford are quote-unquote sandbagging, it seems it's just a 2-horse race here between Corvette and Porsche. Because Aston Martin are really behind as being the only manufacturer that isn't using Michelin tires, and Ferrari haven't been able to match the pace of Corvette so far. So that's the story in LMGTE Pro. And LMGTE AM, there's a bit of new stuff because AF Corse is no longer being directly involved with the amateur GT class in Le Mans anymore. They're actually, operating lesser-known teams under different brands. So technically, AF Corse is still in GTE AM, but under a different name. Like, there is a Swiss team that they are racing under. They are racing under the alias of Spirit of Race, which is their main entry. And then there's also an entry from Singapore, which is their Asian Le Mans Series entry. Clearwater Racing, they'll be fielding 2 cars as well. So AF Corse has a 4-car strong entry in the LMGTE AM class, so they'll be attacking that class very much. And also Proton Competition, which is the semi-supported, factory-supported Porsches, they are in with very close. There's the World Endurance Championship entry, the number 77 Dempsey Proton Racing Porsche, that is being joined by European Le Mans Series entries, number 93, number 88 Proton Competition, and they'll be joined with some, really heavy-duty drivers like Patrick Long, who has won the LMGTE AM class twice in the past 10 years, and Klaus Bachler, who is one of, who is actually quite heavy, and Khalid Al-Kubaizi, who raced for Proton last year and won a couple of races for them, so they've got a pretty strong lineup as well. And that's the other major manufacturer entry, along with Aston Martin Racing. They're not doing very well in GT Pro, but in GT AM, they are the team to beat. They have very experienced drivers of Pedro Lamy and Matthias Lauda, Niki Lauda's son. very experienced people in that Aston Martin, but things look... Oh yeah, BMW's going to go to Le Mans next year, but that's for next year, so yeah. It is basically between 8 cars here. 4 Ferraris, 3 Porsches, 1 Aston Martin in for the win. And it seems Proton Competition have really taken this one quite easily. They've taken the top 2 slots. Well, not necessarily, but when considering, amount of laps completed, they are, in the index of performance, they are in the top 2 slots. Just ahead of the Gulf Racing, independently British Gulf Racing Porsche. But Spirit of Race are not out of luck, because they do have 2 cars, one of which actually has a veteran and former AF course driver, a GT veteran, AF course has Olivier Beretta, Monegasque racing driver, and Olivier Beretta is probably one of the most successful GT racers in history, having won the GT class 6 times at Le Mans, and being an AF course racer in recent years. He's coming back from sabbatical to race for Spirit of Race in the LMGT AM class. So we've got some heavy names along. Most of the AM class is full of gentleman drivers we haven't seen before, but there are some heavy names in here, like Olivier Beretta, Pedro Lamy, Klaus Bachler, Patrick Long, Khaled El Kubaizi. Things do look... Hopefully this should be a pretty good battle. And while we did lose a lot of entries in endurance racing in 2017, things look pretty solid, pretty rock solid for Le Mans this year. And we have a total of 60 cars. Whoops. We have a total of 60 cars at 24 Hours of Le Mans, and doesn't matter what it is, but almost all of them have a chance at winning, basically. So we'll hope to see that this can be a very, exciting fight at Le Mans, and yeah, I think it's gonna be very good. Anyway, that was me talking about the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, click the like button or subscribe button or leave a comment. And I'll see you next time.